Sai Ram, a warm good morning to one and all. Narendranath Datta, known as Swami Vivekananda, was born on January 12, 1863. His quest from childhood was about existence of God, which bewildered him the most. It was only after meeting his mentor and Guru Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa he realized the actual meaning of God. He got to know that all living beings are embodiments of God. Therefore, service to God is service to mankind. Hence, he worked tirelessly for the betterment of society in service to poor and the needy. He always said, so long as the millions live in hunger and ignorance, I hold every person a traitor who, having been educated at their expense, pays not the least heed to them. His message of universal brotherhood and self-awakening is very relevant at the present times. As a young monk, his teachings and ideals has been an inspiration to many, especially the youth of the country. For this very reason, his birthday, January 12th, is celebrated as the National Youth Day in India. To commemorate the 150th birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda, the great Indian youth icon, an online talk by Mrs.Karuna Munshi, Director Sri Sathya Sai Vidya Vahini, has been arranged by the Department of Philosophy as a part of National Youth Celebrations. Mrs.Karuna Munshi, since 2017, has been serving as the director of Sri Sathya Sai Vidya Vahini, a unit of the Prashanthi-Nilayam-based Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust. Prior to this, she served Radio Sai, the media outlet of the ashram, producing and hosting programs based on Bhagwan Baba's message of universal love and harmony. She has served the cause of Sai education in various capacities, including Secretary of the Sri Sathya Sai School of Canada in Toronto, where she lived for over 20 years before relocating to Prashanthi-Nilayam, Puttaparthi in 2009. Karuna is a communications specialist by training who is passionate about value-based education. She holds a BA first rank and MA Philosophy Gold Medalist from the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. She has pursued communication studies at the University of Toronto and TV and media production at FTII Pune. She has worked in senior positions as a TV journalist and in the corporate communication space both in India and Canada. She has widely traveled and yet she feels most at home when she is in her natural habitat, that is the lotus feet of Bhagwan Baba. Above all, Karuna and her siblings and their children are former Sai students and are always at Sai service. Now, over to Mrs. Karuna Munshi for her talk on Swami Vivekananda, a youth icon.
Again, by offering our collective pranams at the lotus feet of the Divine Founding Chancellor of the world's most sacred institution of learning that exists on the face of this planet at this point in time in history. At his lotus feet, let us bow and seek blessings for being part of his story. Revered and most beloved Bhagwan members, the esteemed members of the faculty of Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning and my dear students, loving Sai Ram and a good morning to all of you. First of all, congratulations are in place for your good fortune for being selected as students of a university that was started and designed by God incarnate, by the Paripurna avatar of the Kali Yuga, Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Each one of you is a unique individual, but there's something in common between all of us, despite our generational gaps, despite our cultural linguistic divide. Namely, all of us were born with an enormous amount of blessings that landed us to be students of this sacred institution. Did you even know that there are a total of 875 universities in India? Central universities, state universities, private universities, deemed universities. So what makes our university so special? And keep in mind that compared to many other universities that have a NAC rating of the highest level, which we also have with Swami's grace, we are the A+ university by NAC. Compared to other A+ universities, our enrollment is very limited and small. Now, did you know how many soldiers there are in the Indian Army altogether? Any guesses? Well, let me tell you, it's 11,55,000 soldiers. And these will be gunmen, foot soldiers, combat soldiers. For these 11,55,000, that is about 11 and a half lakh soldiers, how many generals, how many commanding officers do we need? We have in the Indian Army 2,000 brigadiers, 600 major generals, and around only 190 lieutenant generals. So what is the ratio? For every 413 soldiers, there is but one officer, one commander, one general, for 413. So Bhagwan Baba has set up his university to raise leaders, not soldiers. His aim is to groom future generals in society, not orderlies and sepoys. They are very important, they play a role, but his chosen students have to be upright and confident leaders. You are expected to be bright and intelligent, yet humble and humane. You can be brilliant, but you have to be grounded. So we don't mass produce sheeple people like a learning factory with a cookie cutter. Everybody comes out with the same degree, but no real knowledge. Forget the word wisdom. It doesn't even exist in many other learning environments. Hence, at the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, the emphasis is on quality, not quantity. Hence, the relatively smaller enrollment numbers. And for you to have made it to this university despite such stringent admission processes, I congratulate you on your good fortune. Quality matters. Seriously, it does. You may ask why. A God-intoxicated master with no business plan, no formal education, no spiritual empire, no major organization, no media account, no Twitter, no Insta, no Facebook. He left his body in 1886. That was a very long time ago. Today we are in 2021. All it took is a small brigade of his disciples to take his teachings to the entire world. And today, Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa is amongst the most revered spiritual masters in the world, what with all the Ramakrishna missions, mutts all over the country and the Vedanta Society in the West and such. The teachings of his followers, I think one of the main chief followers of Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa was a general, a Vedantic scholar. I like to call him a spiritual samurai. He was a prince who inherited his master's legacy, and as Sharda ma'am told you, he was born Narendranath Datta. But the world today knows him by his monastic name, Swami Vivekananda. To mention the name of Vivekananda means to conjure up an image of a monk with a really broad set of shoulders, a radiant face, an imposing turban, and his eyes. Have you noticed? His eyes always emit energy, enthusiasm, and knowing. But wait a minute. Am I not supposed to be talking about a youth icon to a group of young ladies in their late teens or maybe early 20s in the year 2021? So at first I was thinking, who could be a good youth icon for you? Is it maybe Alia Bhatt? Is it Janhvi Kapoor, Ranveer Singh? Okay, leave them alone. Let's go with Karan Johar's Babysitters Club. There's Tara Sutaria, there is Ananya Pandey, there is Kiara Advani. So, and what about Sarah Ali Khan? So from their diapers, these people have catapulted to double-digit crores in income, and the paparazzi following them, and the stardom, and the archlight, and whatnot. Well, guess what? When I was your age, and also 10 years ago, and 20 years ago, and many years ago when I was your age, there was a list of similar superstars, but it was different. And today, I can't even remember who they were when I was young, and nobody remembers them. Gone after their fleeting moments of fame under the spotlight. It's like a revolving stage. This group comes into the forefront and they fade into the back. like how I was backstage on this, what is it called, which I'm using, some yard. Let me look, what is the StreamYard. So I was backstage and Sharda madam put me on YouTube to reach you. Once you switches off, I'll be backstage on StreamYard and my connection will go. Similarly, the fame of the world is like that. But even today, though this non-glamorous monk with no Twitter account, no Facebook, no IG, and though he left his body on 4th of July in 1902 at Belur Mart in Howrah, West Bengal, today all over the world, people are observing the anniversary of his Samadhi. More than 100 years later, he's still remembered. No one remembers who was the movie icon 110 years ago, whether it was in Bollywood or Hollywood or any kind of movie industry. Today, you may be on a social media influencer and your hashtag may trend for a bit. Tomorrow, forgotten. Remember, justice for Sushant Rajput? Where are those voices today? I rest my case, and I hope you get the point. Think long term, think in terms of eternity. In the Sri Sathya Sai orbit, we often speak of eternal values. This is a word that will keep coming up. These are cool habits and character traits that trend all the time. They don't change with change in fashion style. It's not cool to be self-confident this year and uncool the next year. It was cool to be self-confident when Swami Vivekananda traveled on a steamer without a penny in his pocket to America. And it is cool to be self-confident today. Self-confidence is still trending. Thank God for that. So about 12 or 13 years ago, I was visiting this beautiful city of Chicago in the US, and I was admiring this main downtown vista. You know, it had beautiful traffic. It was a summer day. There were many convertibles. People were driving in a very leisurely and orderly manner, as they do in that part of the world. And then there were these wide stretches of sidewalks, like footpaths, where people were walking, families with children or strollers. And then there were these stretches of tulips growing, like wide stretches along the road. And then there was this beautiful, I thought it was the ocean, but it was Lake Michigan, because Michigan is a very, very big lake. And I was like, wow, where are we? This is before we were good with GPS. So I was looking at my map to see where exactly are we downtown, and I see a board, a street name. And when I looked up, the name of that main road in the core of downtown Chicago was Swami Vivekananda Way. Can you imagine how excited I was? I was like, oh my God, the street is named Swami Vivekananda Way. Now, this is a famous Michigan Avenue, and the core of it, the most prestigious stony upscale part, is named after a monk from India who landed on the shores of this country with nothing more than the blessings of his guru. His first debut was, of course, you might have heard of, the famous speech on September 11th, momentous day for America, in 1893 at the first World Parliament of Religions in Chicago. I hope you are aware that when Swamiji stood up to speak, his opening line was so extremely powerful that a deafening applause, that is a standing ovation of guess how long? 2 full minutes followed, when he uttered the following words: "Sisters and brothers of America." And there was this thunderous applause. And Swami Vivekananda went on to say, "I am proud to belong to a religion which has taught the world both tolerance and universal acceptance. We believe not only in universal toleration, but we accept all religions as true." Now, research by a student at the Harvard Business School reveals that a lot of innovation, creativity, advancement in the world that has come from America actually is sourced to the wisdom and ideas that Swami Vivekananda shared with the West. Swamiji was a great influencer in molding America and its success. And some of the ideas that he shared with them include the fact that there is an infinite human potential, the infinity of the human potential. Fact that happiness doesn't lie only in material achievement, and spirituality is for all. It is basically the core of all religions. Now, there's a very famous book by an author called Phil Goldberg. It's called The American Veda. and it traces how Sanatana Dharma came to America. And there is a chapter in it which is titled Swamis Taught the Smart Guys, and the Smart Guys Taught the Rest of Us. During his stay in America, Swami Vivekananda ji influenced a generation of thinkers, of American intellectuals and writers with ideas of Vedanta. These include the famous writers such as Aldous Huxley, J.D. Salinger, and that is how the lofty ideas of Vedanta percolated to mainstream America in a language that America could understand. I hope you're all young girls, you must know the famous Star Wars trilogy, the series created by George Lucas about the mysteries of the infinite universe. Well, guess what, ladies? George Lucas's friend, Joseph Campbell, was a Vedantin and deeply influenced by Swami Vivekananda. You might also know of this blockbuster movie trilogy called The Matrix, starring Keanu Reeves. Now, I have to tell you this, many years ago when the first Matrix movie came out, it had rave reviews and it was talking about this, everybody was talking that everyone in that movie is very tall, wearing a black trench coat. I like black trench coats. So I decided to go and see the movie for such a frivolous reason. I rarely ever watch, but no, actually I'm joking. I wanted to see this movie because it had rave reviews and my husband and I went to watch it. And as we were watching, it's like the bulb in our head went ting together and we both started a study circle in the movie theater, because, you know, being in the Sai organization, you always want to discuss things and ideas. And we realized it's all based on the Vedantic concept of Maya, the world that we project based on our own understanding of reality. So everything is a projection. And my husband said, oh my God, this movie is based on Sanatana Dharma, it's based on Vedanta, the philosophy of Vedanta. And it was. And when we saw the credits at the end, we saw all the Indian people who had written the script. So there were some names and we could right away recognize. Now, the Vedanta Society of America has been a strong and silent influencer of society in the West. And guess what? It was founded by none other than Swami Vivekananda in New York in 1894. Now, let's quickly look at some of the core values that we can learn from Swami Vivekananda and draw our inspiration from, because I have to be very mindful of the time. First is, Swami Vivekananda taught everyone to believe in themselves and have confidence in self. Now, old religion taught us an atheist is a person who doesn't believe in God. But Swami Vivekananda taught us an atheist is a person who doesn't believe in herself. So if you don't believe in yourself, I'm sorry, ladies, you can sing all the artis, do all the Vedam. If you don't have faith in yourself, you are an atheist, I'm afraid. But I'll still be your friend, no worries. Now, there was a very high society lady called Josephine MacLeod. She helped Swami Vivekananda settle down in America, and she used to meet the high and mighty of the West. And she wrote that when she met the Tsar of Russia, she felt, how great is he and how small am I? And later when she met Swami Vivekananda, she said she realized how great is he and how great am I? Now, Swamiji could instill self-belief in a person. We must have faith in ourselves. His life, his teachings constantly remind us of our potential. Now, let's refer to the teachings of our own beloved Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, our divine founder chancellor. He went on to say we are nothing short of being divine beings. He kept telling us you're nothing short of being absolutely unconditionally loving beings, sacred beings. That's why in every discourse, Swami refers to all of us as Prema Swarup Laras, Divya Atma Swarup Laras. So if you're this angelic holy being with, that invisible halo and some wings tucked right behind your clothes, why then are we so anxious, so scared, so nervous, so upset so often? And we keep feeling bad about our past mistakes and we suffer from guilt and regret. And we keep worrying about the future. Oh my God, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? We really mess up sometimes by thinking too much about the past and worrying about the future. Swami Vivekananda told us that what is behind us and what is in front of us is nothing compared to what is inside us. There are treasures of joy, of wisdom, of peace, and overflowing love within us. Our revered founding chancellor had once told my batch in a group interview that he gave us when we were graduating. Swami said to us, the past is history. Forget about it. The future is a mystery. Stop worrying about it. All you have is the present. You know, birthday present, happy birthday present, it's a gift. It's a gift from God. So what do? You unravel the gift, you seize it, you savor it, you embrace it, you explore it, you live it well. So by living it well, how are we to make the most of this gift called the present? Swami Vivekananda taught us that to deal with every moment in life, we should practice self-efficacy. Self-efficacy. That means to remind oneself that I am capable and I am well primed to face the challenges in life. Most of us, as students get scared of certain subjects. I was always scared of math and want to give up. Then math is equally easy or difficult for everyone. But some other child in the class may just persist and simply not give up and keep trying different ways to solve the problem because they have the faith in themselves that they might find the solution. They will find the solution. The faith in self, dear ladies, is the source of success of top performing athletes, of most successful CEOs and other leaders. So have faith in ourselves and let's be confident. The next character trait or the secret sauce to lasting success that the iconic Swami Vivekananda taught us is to focus or have concentration. Now, the difference between an ordinary person and a great person lies in the degree of their concentration, because the key to all systems of learning lies in training our mind and our senses to concentrate at the task at hand. This means you can't be sitting in this culture class while on the side checking your Facebook and going through, sending a meme to your friend and quickly checking what's on the WhatsApp group and exchanging jokes. Take your attention to the task at hand, then hold your attention on the task. Cut out all distractions. Swami Vivekananda had an unimaginably piercing attention span. He could, I wish I had that attention span. Apparently, he could look at the page of a book like this and click a picture of it, photographic memory, and he would remember everything. There's a story about one time when he was he was in Meerut, and Swamiji used to send one monk who was working in the ashram in Meerut to borrow books, very dense books on scientific research. There was a whole series. He would send him to Meerut library and borrow those books. And he would read each volume so quickly, and the monk would go and return it and bring the next one. So the librarian became suspicious. He said, what is he doing with these books? Nobody can ever read these dense and heavy scientific books so fast. And then Swami Vivekananda met him and said, ask me anything. And obviously he knew everything. He had a completely enlightened brain. And the librarian, of course, then had a picture of, later had mounted a picture of Swami Vivekananda ji on top of his desk. So that was the concentration he had, the power. So our power of attention determines where we put all our cognitive resources. I can't put half of my cognitive resources on talking to you and then also answering the message from my phone. Actually, I can see someone has written to me, they want to visit Parthi. What is the status? I get this query every day. There's something called the PRO's office. But I guess a lot of my friends keep asking, now should I get distracted by, I just clicked on my phone, I saw that message. So where you deposit your attention will determine your success or lack of it and the quality of your life. Finally, never forget to constantly question yourself and decide, who are you? In my case, I prefer to ask myself a slight variant of that question, that Vedantic question, who am I? I ask myself, whose am I? We all have our moments of weakness, self-doubt, low self-esteem. We feel nervous, lousy, beaten at times. It may help us to visit Swami Vivekananda's life and draw from his gospel of strength. Think of Swami Vivekananda's image. I mean it, his words, and suddenly you feel like sitting upright. It's like somebody gave you a shot of tonic because he personified strength and courage. He taught Advaita Vedanta system of thought that says we are all God, no less than the infinite power. Now, till we feel our God self overpowering us, let's at least remember whose we are. So, ladies, wherever you're sitting in your home, I want you to please sit upright, just comfortably upright, and repeat after me. I am the daughter of Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Fold your hands and once again repeat after me or with me. I am the daughter of Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. I am the daughter of Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. I'm sure Swami Vivekananda is very proud of you. I know my favorite place in the college campus, I was not the best of students. I was more interested in reading nice books than studying textbooks. Sorry about that. Even though my subject was fantastic, philosophy. Philosophy is the cool people's subject. We don't cramp ourselves with spreadsheets and scientific data. Thinking of how to become better human beings and what did the great masters teach. So much thought, nourishment for the soul, love philosophy. So I would always be found in the college library. And there was this whole section with books of Swami Vivekananda behind Pushpa Madam's table. And there were these two glass cupboards that had quotations from Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa. And my two favorite books, one is Ramakrishna Paramhamsa and the Gospel of Ramakrishna Paramhamsa. I love those magical books. So, you know, one of the most electrifying takeaways from everything that Swami Vivekananda has ever said is the famous line that I'm sure all of you know. Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. Now, remind yourself that by giving you a seat in this sacred institution, you are being groomed to become future leaders. Remember, our institute trains leaders, not soldiers. So we all need to arise. We need to awaken and keep going till we reach that goal. Now, from the sublime to the ridiculous, but for now, let me take the liberty of deconstructing this for you in the present moment. Because pointless daydreaming about you being in a general's position or commanding a large force in a corporation, a government department, a hospital, or the Indian Armed Forces, pointless. Future is a mystery, so it'll take care of itself based on how you live the present moment. And you know what? You are here today in the present moment as an outcome of the past. So the key lies in handling the present moment well. So, my dear ladies, in the present moment, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached needs to be deconstructed to internalize it when the morning bell rings for Suprabhatam in the hostel. We are so sleepy, eyelids refuse to open, and you do anything to cover yourself with your bedsheet or blanket and go back to sleep. At that time, remind yourself of the monk who conquered the world with sheer grit and effulgence, which he developed by living a life of discipline. Internal awakening will happen starting with a timely bedtime, a timely waking up time in the morning, and a good morning routine. Small steps like rising early, making your bed, being in the present moment, focusing your entire attention on the task at hand, and reminding yourself whose you are, the daughter of Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, often in the day. These are just a few good tips we can imbibe from the glorious and effulgent life of Swami Vivekananda. Doing small or trivial things well is perfection, and yet perfection is not a trifle. So I have reached 9:31 and I welcome any questions or queries or concerns from any of you. I'm sure there's a method you can reach out to Sharda ma'am, and I will be so happy to answer them for you. I see it says there are no questions from. Okay, so if there are no questions, maybe I can go on and share with you how much Bhagwan loved Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa, and how many times Swami had the students perform that drama, and the kind of interest Swami took in the life and drama based on Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa's life just tells us that Swami really saw that great master as a great role model for all of us. And ladies, I have a strong feeling all of you are busy on your social media because there are no questions. And I'm not sure if you've just kept your mouse on and are you in culture class virtually, but in mind and spirit elsewhere. That's between you and your conscience. No worries. I'm happy even if there are two girls who are logged in and who are paying attention. It doesn't matter. Because in the end, all of us make amazing choices in life, and every choice we make will lead to consequences that are ours to handle. And I'm sure we're all capable of handling. What life throws at us is based on our capacity to handle it. That's why sometimes we see a lot of good people going through a lot of suffering in life. They have the bandwidth to deal with it. So we can never judge anyone else's situation. We should only focus on our own. Now, when I was a student, and our first Vice Chancellor, Dr. Vinay Krishna Gokak, used to always say that if this system of integral education can produce just one good student, I will feel the university has achieved its potential. And I'm sure our university has thousands of amazing people out there in society, in different parts of India, in the corporate world, in the financial sector, in the health sector, in the administrative services and the armed forces, who are doing an amazing job, and they are bringing glory to Swami. And as you know, many of our students are doing exceedingly well abroad, especially in the West, in the software industry, in corporate again, and in every area of every profession possible. And because Dr. Gokak used to say that Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa had one Vivekananda, and look where the Ramakrishna mission is today. Bhagwan has so many thousands of amazing, awesome, outstanding students out there. So that means that we have the responsibility to make sure that much bigger we take Swami's message to the world and bring relief to them, so that people realize that people who are very unhappy because of their material incompetence, maybe inadequacies that they see, that true happiness does not lie entirely in making more money and being richer and having more wealth. True happiness lies somewhere in here, in many other things other than just possessions. And people who are feeling weak and lost and defeated, Swami's message tells them that there is absolutely no reason to feel that way, because all of us have the potential to achieve our God selves. And when we are in that zone where we believe in ourselves, we can achieve, or that is how ordinary men and women can achieve extraordinary outcomes and goals. And I'm hoping that all of you girls, as you have seen, I'm also on the small, I'm one of the many participants on a group called Noticed how well our children do when they go out and how much they are respected. I'll just share with you one small story. There is a company, all of you know, called Deloitte. It has a huge presence in India, and one of its largest offices is in Hyderabad. And it has also offices in Bangalore and Delhi. And many of our graduates from SSIHL get hired by Deloitte and are working there. Now, I work for Sri Sathya Sai Vidya Vahini, and we have a Csr Partnership with Deloitte. And the reason our partnership does so well with them is because our own sisters and brothers who work in Deloitte in Hyderabad are bringing such an awesome name to our alma mater that team of about I think 40 something people, and they're led by two brothers from our side, Ramesh Kunak and brother Bhuvanesh, and there are many other brothers and sisters, Sister Lakshmi from our university and many others. They are all Swami's SSIHL graduates, and because they're doing so well and they have such a sterling reputation, strength of character, they are so respected by their bosses there for their integrity, that they are an extension of Vidya Vahini in Deloitte, and our engagement with them is simply awesome. And the way they treat this NGO, they deal with many NGOs because these are big companies, and the laws mandate that they have huge CSR engagements based on their overall some percentage of their outlay, so profits that they make. And they have been extremely gracious to Vidya Vahini. We have been invited to all their major events. We have interacted with the CEO of the Deloitte's India practice and all the vertical heads. And that is entirely because of our brand ambassadors, our own sisters and brothers who work there, and the kind of support they give us. They feel so proud to, okay, we can take questions, yes. They feel so proud to represent Vidya Vahini and Prashanti Nilayam in their company with such pride. They wear that badge. Now, those are my living heroes and sheroes. Those are my Vivekanandas in there, in a big corporate office where the name, the Triple S brand is respected, revered, and so welcome. Doors open for us because of these men and women who represent us with that integrity, confidence, self-belief, effulgence, and honesty. I'm very happy to take questions. How shall we take them? You can write them for me, or shall
Karuna, I will speak it out.
No, please do. No problem.
There are a few questions.
Okay.
The first one was, what is your favorite quote of Swami Vivekananda?
Favorite is always arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. And also the one that Sharda ma'am quoted, that, it's a crime against humanity for educated, well-to-do people who can get on with their lives without feeling the pain of those who have nothing. We don't have a right to that education. We don't have a right to making a living out of that education if our heart doesn't beat for those who are suffering and in pain. Because that's who Swami is. Swami did not live, our beloved Chancellor, Divine Chancellor, never lived a day for himself, not a moment. He only sacrificed because Swami had so much compassion. He created this world, we messed it up, and yet he took the trouble to try to bring relief to us. I'll tell you one story very quickly. My parents had some very successful, wealthy Parsi friends in Singapore when I lived there as a child. And they were Swami's devotees. And that lady, very high society lady from Mumbai, she had got an interview with Swami. And she said when Swami called her, like she was a who's who of society. And Swami also called some very, very poor lady who was wearing such a tattered sari that she could barely cover herself because it was all coming apart. And she had a child with her. And Swami, in the presence of this Parsi lady, spoke about to her. He was talking about matters related to her life. But those are first world problems that those rich people have. But for this lady who was so poor, Swami was so compassionate and loving. And what he did, he went and brought her a sari. And then he said, wait, he went into his kitchen and got a handful of red cold apples, beautiful Himachal Pradesh Kashmir apples, and he said, eat. Her need, Swami knew, we don't know, he must have known how her stomach was groaning with hunger. So for that lady, Swami could manage both spectrums. That Parsi lady was telling my parents, with her it was like different level of engagement, and with this lady, he couldn't bear her hunger, and the fact that she was so embarrassed with her sari that she was constantly covering herself because it was all tattered. Go on, next question, please.
Yeah. How to cultivate good habits during their studentship?
Okay, very good question. I'm so glad whoever asked. First of all, I hope you're still online. See, all the Sathya Sai schools and SSIHL routine is drafted by the greatest teacher, universal teacher to humanity, Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. So just follow. My simple answer is follow to the T what Swami has set in motion in your Anantapur campus. If you're not in campus, try to follow it at home right now while you're doing online studying. Wake up on time, spend some time early, pray to Swami. You have no idea. It looks like a punishment that we had to wake up and wash our face and go to prayer hall and sit and doze during Omkar with our heads nodding. You have no idea. You don't have to join the Belur Math or become a monk to get the kind of awakening that can happen to you if you keep your back straight and upright and actually chant the Omkar the way it is meant to be chanted, with akara, ukara, makara, and the silence thereafter. Because all your energies, all the fancy spiritual stuff you read in books, the Kundalini awakening, all that will happen without, because many times Kundalini awakening can lead to mental imbalance also. Without losing our marbles, we can actually become enlightened beings by following the discipline of Anantapur campus or whichever Sathya Sai institute that you study in. That is written by Swami. He made it seem so simple and so basic, but behind it is a lot of thought. The discipline of washing clothes. I deal with so many spoiled children, and I wonder, I find they have degrees, they have no life skills. And that what differentiates a Sathya Sai student with the kid who might have a degree from a very fancy college. Trust me, in recent past, I have dealt with some people who had great engineering degrees, and one boy came to my office one day. He was working with me, and he came completely disheveled in a crumpled kurta pajama. At 11, I phoned him. I said, "You're not in the office, sir. Where are you?" He said, "Oh, I'm coming." And he came rushing at 11:30. I don't think he had brushed his teeth. So I said, "What happened? Is everything okay? Like, who comes to office like this?" He said, "Ma'am, there was no hot water in my room." I said, "Okay, then take initiative, do something about it. What did you do?" "I don't know." I said, "You've got a heating device, so make a little bit, pour it in a bucket, put a towel. Anantapur campus, I have learnt it. Make more, put it in the bucket, cover it with the towel till you get about 1/3 of a bucket, mix it with water and have what Gemma madam used to call a crow bath on a day when you have difficulty to wash up." He said, "But I'm not able to do that because here I'm expected to make my own head coffee," what he said, bed coffee, and run my own hot water and take care of my laundry. I'm like, "Who does it for you elsewhere, sir?" And he said, "Oh, at home, parents will do. I have never, one day from kindergarten till my B.Tech, I have never stayed away from my family." I was like, "Sai Ram, I need to enroll you in Anantapur campus. Uske baad dekhenge. You will straighten out, my friend, and you will know how to take good care of yourself." So all the things that irk you are not irksome. These are life skills that will make you strong, effulgent, independent, confident. You will know how to deal with every situation. If you get a job where you don't have room service with bed coffee, you will know how to make your coffee. So simple answer, follow to the T everything. Give it a shot. Don't sit and join the cynics club. Why they have to do like this? Why should they do you know what we should do? For every little thing you have 500 opinions. Sometimes trust Swami's judgment also. What your teachers are imposing on you is not their personal vendetta. It is what Swami has set in place to make you better people, and it really pays off in life.
So Karuna, the earlier question which you appreciated was from Miss Rose.
Okay, thank you,
So
Rose.
we have two, three more questions. I think we can hurry up. One is from Ms. Gayatri, second MSc.
Okay.
How to overcome social media distraction, which is actually turning into addiction?
True. Simple. So every now and then take a break. Digital is called digital detox. So have a scheduled time when you're going to catch up. If you must catch up with your social media, have a specific time. Don't keep it always handy. Everything between every lecture, I will tell check who has posted what and then give a thumbs up. And don't get carried away by other people's, all those, sometimes everything has a filter. I see a lot of people looking so glamorous on Instagram, and when I meet them in person, they look different. I'm like, are you the same person? So there are so many filters that make us look so much better than we actually are, and make our lives look better than it actually is. And that's how we get the sense of discontent. My God, here I'm sitting in Perth doing nothing, and my friend is holidaying in Hawaii. Somebody's here, somebody's flying to Singapore. Okay, keep a specific time. Limit it's called time management. Prioritize. And as Swami Vivekananda said, put your entire cognitive load on the task at hand. So if you're doing social media, give yourself half an hour and do as much as you want. Be careful, be responsible. You're representing Bhagwan's name. So as I have said many times in Anantapur, you please be mindful of what you post. If you have the guts to write, you're a student of Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, that privilege comes with the responsibility. For heaven's sake, we don't want to see your pictures holidaying on a sea resort by the beach. We don't want to see you cooking anything which goes against, I'm appalled and ashamed that some alumni members actually post recipes of mutton and chicken. It's disgusting and unacceptable. And I apologize for it because I'm also an alumnus. And there is absolutely no need for me to know about your craziness for Ranveer Singh or Ranveer Kapoor. I get mixed up with the names, or anybody else out there. Be responsible, keep a set time, take a digital detox, and follow a meticulous schedule. When you have the discipline to self-control and say, no, although my phone is within my reach, now is not my time to check who has posted which forward and what wrong, all misinformation. Yeah, half of the social media information is wrong if you do a fact check. So don't get carried away, don't get too much into it, and shut a few accounts. Why should you have so many accounts? अगर Facebook है तो cut off your IG. If you have IG and Twitter, unless you're doing it for institute or for a proper organizational thing, for personal, we are not celebrities. What it has done is made us imagine we are, it has made megalomaniacs out of us. We think we are so important, chilling with this juice here, feeling cool with my friend, having an awesome time with so-and-so. Nobody's interested. You're not Hrithik Roshan with 30 million followers that we need to give everybody a minute-to-minute account of what we are doing and then see who liked it, who gave me a thumbs up. It's an addiction towards increasing your own egoism and megalomania. Get away from it. Take a detox. Take a pill.
Yes, Karuna, there are many more questions. I think we have to stick to one or two, only one.
Okay.
I mean, right now. So there's one question from Madam Sumana from FNS department. And it's a very, very, relevant question. How to induce ethics into students during this online classes, learning, exams, etc.?
Okay, very good question, because I have a 20-year-old at home and I know how he studies online. So one is, to be a proctor and constantly say, keep your camera on. I want to see whether you're looking there but it should not arise. It should not go to that level that someone as a teacher has to keep an eye on you to see if you're looking like this. And I could actually be right now, you won't know, I'm actually checking, my brother has sent me a message. Okay. Okay, so I don't have to do that, right? My teacher should not have to monitor. What it is to create self-monitoring mechanism, and that comes with growing awareness. There are many states of consciousness, and one of them now, there are many facets to reality, and now it has turned virtual, the connection that we have, and to treat it with the same respect. And I would say, as a teacher, I would keep it highly interactive so that people have to and give marks for participation. So that only those children who actually participate in my class raise their hand, because it gives them the option to raise a hand, ask questions, not for the sake of asking questions to get teacher to note they've asked, like questions which show that they are actually absorbing what I'm teaching. That is what I would keep it. Otherwise, a simple, boring lecture is that the child is either dozing or bored or doing something else on the side and just suffering the class. No way. As a teacher, I would prefer that my kids don't suffer my class, and I would try to make it as interactive, participative, and give marks and incentive for participation and asking questions. And after every class, at the end, I would randomly pick a few people to sum up something here or there, because that way they will be forced to stay alert. And as a student, I would ask myself, whose am I and why am I in this business of studying in SSIHL? If I am a student of SSIHL, a certain degree of higher engagement, integrity, commitment, sincerity is expected. It goes with the brand name. So please take this privilege as a student with a high degree of gratitude and responsibility.
Yeah, just about a couple of questions if it's possible.
Sure.
One is from Ms. Manogna.
Okay.
She says, at a very young age, Swami Vivekananda could turn spiritual. How can we reach that stage? And did not the worldly, distraction really affect him? How can we go to that stage? And then we have only one more question. There are many more questions. We take only one more question for the limited time.
Okay, so every soul has its own journey and its own levels of evolution. Obviously, Swami Vivekananda was born on that ladder of evolution somewhere very high. He had already done, he might have been a householder in many past lives, and his soul had already finished a lot of its karma, that he was born right up there. So he was so close to enlightenment that he was born. But when I was young, I wanted to be a meditative sannyasi in the Himalayas. And today I'm mother of two children and I'm married and I have a family. So my soul, although it aspired to be born, to live the life of Swami Vivekananda kind of person, this was my journey. So we have to make peace with where Swami puts us in our journey, because he knows what is best for each one. But I will tell you one thing with complete confidence. I always craved this idea of wanting to live in a Himalayan cave and practicing pin drop silence for hours sitting alone. You can do that even in the din of family life. What happens inside me is my responsibility. Where my mind travels, it depends on me. My family, my relatives, my duties, my job, that has very little bearing. If I do my job with the concentration of, make my work my Zen moment, I will do it so well, putting all my, as I said, cognitive load on the task at hand, because I'm offering it to Swami. Even this, when I'm cooking only for Swami. And when I first got married, and I'm a born vegetarian, I could not obviously impose my views on anyone else. Even when I had to cook meat, which I had never touched in my life, I just cooked it for Swami and chanted Gayatri. And apparently I cooked very well. I got a lot of compliments. I'm not proud of it, but it didn't take very long in my family for the day to come when there was absolutely pure vegetarianism in my house. So it's the energy you exude, is acceptance. Accept what Swami gives us, and we will become Vivekanandas inside, no matter whether we live in the world. Live in the world, but don't be off the world. Hands in society, head in forest. Or you can wear an orange robe and do politics, like one fellow I knew. I had a big fight with him about Swami because he came on NDTV and spoke against Swami. And he used to pretend he's like the contemporary Vivekananda with the orange turban and this thing. And may he rest in peace, he's no more. I had a huge battle with him. And because he had the audacity to speak nonsense about the God incarnate. So although he looked like Vivekananda, his actions were not Vivekananda. What defines us as a spiritual being is the words we speak, the thoughts we think, the actions we perform.
Yeah, one last question, Karuna, and that is, your talk has been very inspirational. How to sustain this spirit of inspiration, or how to sustain the spirit continuously?
That's a very good question. Somebody asked Zig Ziglar, who's a motivational speaker, that, you send these quotations every day. What is the point? So Zig said, because, by the way, you took a shower yesterday. Then why did you take a shower today? Because we need to take a shower every day. God knows. Otherwise, in this tropical country, phew. So similarly, we need a daily dose of inspiration. And you must always reflect on what inspiration you receive. I would say instead, if you have to handle social media, handle it, make good choices. My very personal favorite is Radio Sai, also known as the Sri Sathya Sai Media Center now. So if you sign up on Telegram and receive a Swami's message every day, read it first, then pause, then read it again and reflect on it. So you got your daily shot of vitamin G, vitamin God, and then they post so many beautiful little videos and curated bhajans. Participate in your samiti. What is wrong? If you're a Sai student, the first place you should go for socializing is not a club or a restaurant, but your own samiti and the youth group. Go there, participate in the Sai Center activities. And that, when, I can give gap and inspire you, and it will frizzle out in 5 minutes. When you go out there and perform seva, and you see the suffering of people, and you see that what relief you gave them, something here will twist. Your heart will become soft. And that's how you stay inspired. Actions inspire us. The other day, my husband was telling me that he met someone, some long story, and we try to support this group, and they have an orphanage. And they said recently a 6-year-old child was left at this orphanage, who was scrawnier than a dead dog. He had all his bones showing, and his head was oozing with lice, and his family had abandoned him. If there is that much of sorrow, now you know what Swami Vivekananda meant. If we are educated and we can live with that happening in our society, something is wrong with our heads. So go out there, do your social work, do your seva. That will turn the key in your heart and make you want to constantly be in tune with feel a connection with society. When you feel you have a divine responsibility, and I will tell you one thing, it's very important to focus on doing well academically, but unless you do well on the inside, that academic success will only take you so far. When you do well inside by following Swami's teachings, your academics will perform. I'm the best role model for passing all my exams because I hardly ever studied. My thoughts were with Swami. Swami, actually, I'm telling you the truth, the absolute truth. I understood certain philosophers when I was writing my exam. At that time, Swami was prompting in my head, and I was like, is what Spinoza really said? Oh my God, in class, I never paid attention. So Swami took care of me to that extent, but I just kept making sure that I was tuned to Swami. Stay tuned to your chancellor. Stay tuned to the founding divine chancellor of our alma mater who resides right here.
Thank you very much, Karuna, for your very inspirational, energizing talk as well as, question answer session. Now over to Miss Yukti, 3rd BA, for an vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. It's a matter of great honor for me to deliver this vote of thanks. Firstly, I would like to pay my veneration to our Bhagwan, who gave us this wonderful and sublime opportunity to get together amidst this trying situation. I would like to thank Mrs.Karuna Munshi, ma'am, Director, Sri Sathya Sai Vidya Vahini, for her words of sagacity and insight. Ma'am, your words are of utmost importance for all of us, the students, and we'll always be reminded of it that we don't have to make just India better, but we have to make world a better place to live in. Arise, awake, and stop not until the goal is reached. These wonderful words of Swami Vivekananda are not only there to ask us to achieve our worldly goals, but also to awake from the inner slumber we have, from our intellectual slumber, and to understand our own worth and the motive of this human life. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the Department of Philosophy on behalf of all of us for benefiting us with this wonderful session. Lastly, I would like to thank everybody, all the participants who made this session a complete success. Thank you and Sairam.
Sairam.
Sairam. Sairam.